Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm fumbling with buttons again.
Yeah.
Right. It's always. Did you get up with her?
Yes. She
Okay.
said she was dialing in, so she's trying to get. Here we
Okay. Okay.
go.
Here she
Here's our
goes. Here she
girl.
goes. Here she goes.
Get over
Alrighty.
trying to get past my firewalls and VPNs and trying to get over
That's
to my
okay.
iPad, which
Yay!
may or may
Quite
not
all right.
happen.
Quite
And
all
I'm
right.
sorry,
We
I
just
have a
wanted to make
sinus
sure.
infection. I have a sinus infection, so I'm like really icky.
Oh, those are the worst. India, I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here.
We are just
Well,
starting.
welcome.
So we'll kind of roll this, and you'll get the flow.
That sounds great to me. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have you on a little teeny screen on my phone. It looks like, but that's okay.
We can handle that.
We can handle that. Jenny's on a little screen half the time anyway. So this weekend, guys, we are joined with a very powerful voice of love, resilience, and truth, India X. Miller, host of TransCisHer Radio on WSLR.org. India brings warmth and humor and honesty to every conversation, creating spaces where trans and cis voices can meet in solidarity. She's here to share her love and support for the trans community, to talk about her work on the airwaves, and to help us understand what's happening in Florida schools under what's being called Project 2023. For those outside Florida, this is a chance to hear firsthand how classrooms have been taken over, what that means for students and families, and how India's experience guides others walking the same path. We'll also spotlight the C Alliance, a youth-led intergenerational organization working to ensure that values of decency, acceptance, and diversity endure. So welcome, India.
Thank you so much. I am such a huge, just absolute super fan of Trans Love and Mama that I would do absolutely anything that she said. So
that's so awesome. Yeah, she was like, "But India, we need to bring on some people," and I was like, "Okay, who?" And she's like, "India can come on," and I was like, "Great."
I wasn't able to promote it. I couldn't get the link to work. So, but I also wanted to make sure that I understand, who you want to see the show.
Right? We want anyone and everyone who wants to.
So bad at technology.
Yeah, we've had some unsavory folks find us, but the thing is, that's just going to happen. We've been put on blast by some Yahoo on his own Facebook. Thankfully, he's kind of a nobody. But it's just going to happen. Obviously, we want to keep our guests safe as well. So we've offered the option to turn off your camera if you don't want to be seen.
Yeah.
We'll do anything we can to protect our guests. But as far as us, I mean, it's going to be out there. Hi, I want to say hi to Dana, who's joining us from YouTube. Thank you so much. I wasn't here last week because I was in the mountains.
Hi, Dana.
And for that matter, I noticed she wasn't here last week too, and I was just like, it was kind of quiet. Like I rolled through, got the notes done, and was out. Like when there's not somebody to conversate with,
it's a little different.
Give the background, right, and then that's it.
It is. These days, unfortunately, you get the bombers coming in on all these things. We've taken to we sing happy birthday to them when they're in, just sing over them until we get them out.
I love.
Yeah, that has
right.
Pretty
that
nobody hears.
That's awesome. Well, see, and then we have the TikTok issue that I don't know if that's what happened with my account this week. I'm still trying to get into my account. Like I was just telling Jenny earlier, I'm trying to get her and some others to verify. And then they told me, "Oh, you don't qualify for that recovery." And I'm like, the email they have for me is not my email. So it's like whoever they're discussing support with is not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's been fun. And I don't know if it's the same person that attacked our YouTube and then shared us out on Facebook. Like
Isn't it insane?
You never know. I still can't believe you and I have talked about this, India. Like, I can't believe I am still active on TikTok. I cannot believe they've not gotten rid of me with some of the things I've said.
I'll be honest.
Aren't you?
Do what?
You must be shadow banned heavily.
It's very hit or miss. Like the other day, I mean, I had something like 50,000 views. And I mean, it's definitely not what it was. But yeah, there was a time period when it went down to I was very shocked. And then it's kind of worked its way back up. But, I know that if I would just kind of change my tune and behave, that things would be different. But that's just, no.
I know, right? I know. I did a post last night. I get 4 likes now. But Jenny, could you shoot me the link in text, and I can see if I can click into it from my iPad so I can see your beautiful faces. You know how to do that?
Can you get the link?
The link to this or the YouTube?
No, to this.
Yes.
I could do any to StreamYard, I guess.
Yeah.
Because this is just not fun for me. And Jenny, who has like become totally tech savvy on TikTok and social media in like 30 seconds, forgets I'm like her mom's age, right? So it is hard for me to keep up with this technology stuff. And how I win like social media awards is hysterical to me, because if you look at my content, it's just free flow throttle. You know, it's just garbage content. But last night I was singing, or what did I? Oh, that, you know, good girls go to heaven, but bad girls go everywhere.
I love.
And I got a little bit of action, you know, and we go to heaven too if we want.
There you go.
It's a choice. I get to choose. I'm going.
Okay, so I'm coming
in.
in.
Did you get it?
Yes, so I'm coming in on this because I can at least see.
All right. We may have 2 Indias.
Yeah, I'll drop off on here.
We can do it.
There's only room for 1 subcontinent, right? Let's see here.
Amen.
Okay, what's it doing? Let's set up your studio. Oh, my Minnesotans coming through loud and proud.
I was going to say, I caught the edge of an accent there. There we go.
Okay, I forgot my pronouns on that one. We'll get rid of the echo.
There we go.
I have my faithful Karma. Come here. Karma. Come here. Got my faithful sidekick with me.
All right.
Oh.
My little nursemaid, so.
Oh, your volume's much better too.
Oh, good. Okay.
Like I hear so much better.
In my hair, or you mean the laptop, right?
Your hair is magnificent.
Yeah, I am just like, I just started an antibiotic today, so hopefully we're gonna get better here soon. But
okay.
Oof.
Right.
So well, I guess let's jump in because I want to talk about, first of all, let's talk about your radio show, right? TransCisHer. So talk to us about, I guess, introduce yourself and I guess your journey into what got you behind starting that show.
Okay. Well, let me just, if I can, I just want to start with deep breaths. Let's all just kind of like, you know, because it's a lot, right? It's a lot. And I just kind of want to just kind of like ask, like, how one word, how are you feeling?
It is, I don't know.
That's 3 words.
You should feel rested, Jenny. You've been out hiking and all this for like the last week. Like, I wish I could have been doing that. And I need to do something. And I feel like I'm kind of in a place where physically at the moment, I can't do a whole lot either. And so it's very frustrating because I have all this energy here that I want to do something with. And there's just not but so much I can do. And it is very, I would say, infuriating. I don't know if it's infuriating because I'm still very positive about it. I'm very hopeful about it. Like, that's the last thing you'll tear from me out of my dead, cold hands.
Yeah.
You will not take my hope. And my mother says that's like living in the clouds. And I'm like, well, I'd rather live there. Sorry. Like, don't we want to be better? Don't we want to be brighter and nicer and kinder? And I don't know. Like, she calls that magic and rainbows, but
you gotta
why not?
You gotta find your hope and you gotta find your joy in the midst of all of this, you know. And I'm feeling like, oddly, I'm feeling kind of encouraged, you know, and part of that is, you know, they call Florida Project 2023 because, you know, when all this anti-trans legislation came down, another trans advocate here said to me, you know, we're lucky. We've been doing this already for a year in Florida. Like, we know what it's like, right? This is all not new to us.
Right.
You know, and that's so true. But I mean, here, I've had a big week. I got favorite social media person. I also got the Icon Award and their local out awards. And I got nominated for a mainstream magazine for the Women That Roar that I decided not to go for this year. But just because I didn't want the controversy right now, you know.
Right.
But I mean, across town here, we have the Charlie Kirk Memorial going on in a football stadium, and it's like both of these meetings are happening in the same time, same town, same time. And I'm not having people be mean to me out in public. I'm not being embraced. I have more and more faith-based organizations coming together to stand up for us, which I think no matter what our own faith journey is, that's an important part of the solution right now, because they've weaponized Christianity so strongly, against us. And I'm able to throw down with them because I grew up, Pentecostal, and I've spent a lot of time with queer, people that understand theology really well. So I don't back down, but I'm feeling oddly hopeful because I feel like we're kind of the devil's playground, maybe, and if I'm feeling hopeful here, I think that's coming everywhere. So I do feel like things are breaking down a little bit, but that said, I asked my partner, who's a trans man and served as a combat medic in Afghanistan, and served actually received a special designation for his heroism of working in the streets of Afghanistan behind the soldiers as a medic while being fired at. So he has it's kind of a combat medic badge for being under fire while saving lives. And there's a little age difference between us. I came out as trans the year he was born, in 1989. So there's 21 years between us, and we have such different perspectives on everything. But I asked him, like, what, I didn't know what I was walking into exactly on the podcast, but I know it's focused on, TransParents. And I assume parents of trans kids. I'm like, what do you say? What do you say right now to people who love a trans kid? And he did navigate his way out of ever having to answer the question. But, I just wanted to do that breath in, because, I mean, you guys are killing it. You're killing it because you're here, you're trying, and I know it's hard. So yeah, about me, my radio show, it literally happened. I was on the board of a pride organization here, and I went in to record a promo for the Pride Festival, which ended up getting canceled last year because of Hurricane Milton. And it also wiped out our LGBTQ youth center here, which just reopened this week, bigger and better than ever. It was probably the biggest turnout I've seen of anything going on here. And donors are supporting it, and volunteers are stepping up, more than ever. And it was just this week, and it was so hopeful. It was so hopeful. But I went into that radio station. I'm off my ADD meds, so I ran out of it, so bear with me. I'm connecting concrete blocks with clouds in my head.
We both are too.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah. I'm not even sure. I might be ADHD. I'm not even sure. I'm debating that. But my partner's on the other side of the scale, so a spectrum. But I went in there to record a 20-second clip for, what was going on with the Pride Festival. And the guy running the station's like, would you consider having a show on here? And I'm like, can I call it TransCisHer Radio? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, then I do it. Well, it turns out there's a TransCisHer Radio, or a TransCisHer Radio podcast or something. So I'm like, oh gosh. So I came up with TransCisHer. So that's the impetus of how it started, honestly. And I'm still figuring it out. It takes a lot more planning than I haven't put any into it. My guest ended up in the hospital this week, but would have been an amazing guest. And so I had to free flow thought for an hour. But yeah, it really is it's my show. It's on low power radio, so it's not commercial. So I get to talk about whatever I want to talk about. And,
So cool.
I talk, right? Yeah, it's like my show. So, nobody can do me better than me. Like I'm, so
yeah.
But it's traction, it's visibility. And, I had a mom come up to me at the youth organization. And I see her at different events around town. And her kid's like in the hallway behind her. And he's just adorable. I've only seen him a handful of times, but I mean, she's like trying to keep it together. She's like full on bawling.
And she's like, please keep doing what you're doing. Please be everywhere. Please show up. Please stay visible. And she's like, I think you're keeping my child alive. And I'm like, oh my God, like that's like, I put down my donut, you know, like, this is a whole different
serious.
Vibe, right? Yeah, like, oh my God. I mean,
yeah.
You know, and I mean, it's, you know, it's debatable whether that's appropriate to say something, you know, I mean, it's a lot. But in that moment, she really believed that every little bit that we're doing is keeping her kid going, you know, and her kid, I would guess, is maybe 11, you know, and I remember back to when I was that age, you know, and that was my first unaliving attempt was when I was 10 years old, you know, because I used to think, I was so sure that I was just from another planet, that I would lay out in this big field in back of our yard for hours. I mean, maybe, you know, almost entire days, like trying to summon the aliens to come pick me up. Because again, I came up before the internet, right? So I had no verbiage at all.
Right.
But yeah, to be in that room full of really important people that I respect in this town, and to have that mom make time to come up to me, you know, was really cool. So I'm like, okay, you're coming to my house. Like, we're gonna hang out, right? Because like if that's the dose of hope that you need right now, I can give you that for sure. And it is those things. I mean, that's a really extreme one that just happened. And it is the little, you know, the wards that you win here or there, or just that bit of recognition. Or Jack, my partner, just got home from picking up my antibiotic. He's like, oh, some lady that knows you. I forgot her name already. I don't know who she is. He's like totally fangirled out on me in the grocery store. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You know, because it's a small town and we get it a lot. But this is the home of Christian nationalism, you know, and I ended up here with a radio show. I mean, what is that TV show? The Hunting Wives is like literally based off of my school board member who wrote the Don't Say Gay bill, who co-founded Moms for Liberty, who got busted in a 3-way bisexual relationship that, you know, resulted in SAA charges, with her husband, who's head of the Republican Party. And he's now in charge of setting up Turning Point USA in Florida. So, you know, I think you can tell volumes about people.
There's nothing, right? There's absolutely nothing that can happen that derails them.
No.
You let Al Franken have one photograph that was not even that inappropriate. And well, I mean, there's nothing. It's whenever people are like, oh, well, he's going to do this. And then he did this. And, you know, the he that I'm talking about, you know, I'm always like, it doesn't matter. I mean, I love that Amber is in this very hopeful place. And I love that. And people have to be hopeful. And I need hopeful people in my life right now, because I'm just over here like, I have gone so nihilistic.
I'm here for
depressing. It. I'm like, none of this matters.
Like you need someone who is ready to rip off faces. Like you need the leopard eater, right? And right now, Jenny, you're the leopard eater. But at the same time, you need me to come in and go, okay, let's take a deep breath.
Right.
Let's calm down.
Yeah.
There is hope. There are shiny rainbows.
It doesn't matter. They can do anything. He said they could, and he was exactly right. They can do anything they want. And, you know, what do you do?
I'm both of you. I'm both of you, depending on the hour, right? Fraction of the hour. I am like, you know, we need to be hopeful and fight and stand together, and we're right. I'm like, we're all gonna die. You know, it's just like...
And I guess my thing is, I'm like, we're all gonna die, and I'm going down fighting.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a little different. It's like, I'm still gonna fight because the next person might not die. You know?
That's where I'm at. That's where
I need that. I need there to be a world for my kids, for your kids, for somebody else's kid, anybody who's watching. I want the world to be here for your kid. But I've kind of given up on what this world has to offer me. At this point, I'm like, I have something to offer the world, and that's all there is to it, because I have lost like faith, hope, all of it.
Oh, that's where I'm at. I'm like, I literally like blew up at my partner the other night because I'm like, whispering, like, you know, this person of ours, they might think that they're part of Antifa, which is not an organization, you know, and then oh my God, then I'm thinking, he's like, who, like, what are we talking about? Hey, Derek. and I go crazy. I'm in the kitchen because I'm like, you don't think any of this is serious. Like, he didn't even hear what I said. Right. In my head, he was not taking this seriously. He's not ready to flee. We're never going to leave because he fought in Afghanistan for his country. Listen to how I even say that, right? He fought in Afghanistan for his country, but I'm just like, because of that, I'm stuck in Florida. He's a Florida boy.
I appreciate this conversation so much. It's me all the time with my husband. I'm like, I'm getting divorced. It seems to be a lot of women I know with their husbands right now. Because he is not just like ready to run with me right now, making signs.
Yeah.
Well, he's home like once every 2 months. Like, what's he supposed to do?
It's crazy. Hi, Derek. I saw Derek join. Do we know Derek?
Hi, Derek. Thank you for being
here. Yes, we know Derek. We know Derek. That's actually an interesting question. So since you have the radio show, let me ask you this, India. What role do you believe the media has in building empathy and countering misinformation that we aren't seeing?
I mean, do we have media anymore? It's all changed so rapidly. Sitting here reflecting back, like I can remember the day the internet kind of came out, and it was like, first place I didn't even search for like trans supportive spaces. I was looking for guys that wanted to date a trans woman. That was the first space that emerged. To my partner who doesn't know the world without the internet, to the world that we're in right now, where it's like, okay, I think they're doing a great job over at, PBS. Well, PBS is going to be underfunded, maybe go away. And then, well, can I even trust what I'm looking at? Like, what is the source I can trust? At the point that I get really into my conspiracy holes, it's like I need like a tin can and a string to somebody in Canada to make sure, like, is what I'm seeing real? So
right.
Is the media doing a great job? That's such a difficult question.
I mean, can we even bring empathy back? Can we even build it? Like, I mean, at this point, like the media to me serves as honestly, a divisive force, right? To like pigeonhole us into different groups so that we want to blame somebody else for whatever.
Yeah, I think.
How do we build back empathy?
I'm hopeful.
Right.
The fact that I'm given a radio show. Now, granted, it's not a paid show. It's on lower, you can barely catch a signal through town, but they went from, every other week to every week. And now they want to like give me a better time slot after the first of the year where I'm, getting more visibility. Despite they get some, they get more negative people that reach out. Actually, they get the 3 same negative people that reach out about me on everything. That are always trying to get me hurt here. And all the positive people are too busy to like send a, shout out, right? Because that's how it works. It's this vocal.
I'm not.
Publicity is still publicity, though, is it not? For the television station.
The fact that that's going on. The fact that I'm getting, more involved in advocacy, and they want me more involved, and there's sometimes this tenuous, relationship that I'm self-aware of. That as a proud, loud, purple-haired trans woman talking about my trans partner all the time. I can kind of be a kiss of death sometimes, I think, for a politician, or a certain, right? I mean, I just have to be honest about that.
Yep.
I've always understood, because again, I came out, in 1989, and like the LGBT community didn't want us, I wasn't allowed in the gay men's clubs, and the lesbians were fighting to keep us out of women's organizations, and didn't feel really empathetic at that time, but I'm being embraced here. I'm being embraced by LGBT organizations, LGBTQ. I'm being embraced by mainstream media here. I've had multiple stories done about the good things that I do, from the nursing home singing visits that we do. I have an organization that volunteers that we do that. Organization's a big word for anything I'm involved with, but, and then I have new local, news agencies, doing stories about me and what I have going on. That feels empathetic. That feels like empathy is winning. This is happening right now.
Yeah.
I've been here almost 3 years, and I had one local newspaper do a story on me about, I go to the farmer's market and do transplaining. where I just show up, randomly outside of the makeup store, and just put up the thing that says translating with India Miller, and I'm transgender. Ask me a question like you see online, but I'm right there, and I'm on my own. People are like, we want to come with you. I'm like, and I want to be vulnerable. Literally, I think it's an important part of what I'm doing for me. Is to allow people to come in and ask a question, and I always cover that. Don't ask another transgender person this question. Don't ask somebody who's not trans about their genitals, but you can ask me, right? Like, aren't you curious? Like, all right, I've been trans for 40 years. Like, what surgeries have I done? Have I had facial feminization surgeries? Have I had bottom surgeries? How did it go? What about my partner? He's a trans man, and I talk about that. I've only dated cis men. I only wanted to date cis men. I only wanted to date cis men with a neck tattoo and a parole officer looking for him for a long time, and I fell in love with a military hero, right? Thank you. I
get it.
Recovery from addiction.
That is us, yes.
So that was the article that they picked up on, is the farmers market stuff, and I got to know people that way, and I really haven't had any bad experiences. I had one, guy like that's affiliated with. We have a large. We don't have a large. We have a proponent of our population that are Proud Boys, that are these different organizations here. We have representation for them, and we actually have the literal training grounds here where they train Moms for Liberty and people to take over school boards and stuff. It's called the Hollow, and it's Michael Flynn from Trump's first administration that runs it. And they have gun range, like, assault gun ranges, and they have bouncy houses for kids.
Oh.
And they have like wedding stages that are all American flags. Like, it's cray cray. And in this town, as me, I'm being completely embraced and loved and, lifted up more than ever. So, and that's in the 3 years that I've been here. It's trending in the right direction. And, so that is the hope that I think I can bring out to you guys. That is the proof that empathy is winning. I talk to a lot of as many faith-based organizations that will let me. I talk to as many people that will let me, let's be honest. But, my story of my faith journey through all of this, has been something that they can really relate to, I think. And 70% of people still don't know a trans person, or think they know a trans person. And that has to change. I know it's hard, and we don't want to be out, and I don't want people to have to be out. I want them just to live their lives. I want to wave a magic wand, though, where we're encouraged to be out. And I have people within the advocacy space be like, why do you always have to lead with trans? Why do you have to be a trans advocate? Why can't you be a human rights advocate? Why is it always got to be trans? It's like,
yep,
because I'm trans. Like, right? I'm trans. Like, I had to figure a lot of this stuff out. I have detransitioned. I have retransitioned. There's India 1.0 through India 5.0. This is the last one of those, I hope. But I'm so proud to be a woman who's transgender, who had to overcome what I had to overcome. And I hope somebody, that's, visually impaired, who, makes tremendous art, I hope they have that space to be even more proud of their work, right? Or have a different level of resonance about how proud they are that they can create this without seeing. It's interesting, it's important, it's valid.
Yeah.
So I am now trans AF for sure. And I did not move here to be an advocate. I never even really wanted to be an advocate, but I came out as trans, and I was always open about it. And, I had newspaper articles do like business stories about what I had going on and stuff back then. And I would go in and talk to classes of psychiatrists. My doctor would ask me to do that. Like, just talk to them about your experience. I was so depressed that I was institutionalized and committed for a year, would not stop trying to unalive myself. And that was me even before I got estrogen, just letting me, be who I was. I guess I got estrogen towards the tail end of that first year. You had to wait a year back then, and just go dress in the role that you're going to live in, which was literally me, being a guy in a dress, taking a bus from the group home that I lived in to the grocery store, and like, hopes and prayers. And it's gotten so much better, and I don't want us to go back there, and we aren't going to.
I don't think we are. I really relate to what you're saying about, my son said to me at one point, Mom, I just want to be seen as a guy. I don't want there to be this adjective or this. And it made me reflect and think, is my as loud and out there as I am, is that making him feel dysphoric? Is that drawing attention to himself, that he's always going to be? I had to come to terms with that. I had to speak with him about that. My son doesn't want to be the poster child for being trans. Like, he lives his own life. I've done my best to keep him off my socials, make sure that my socials were scrubbed of him before I became this name and took on this identity or persona. I mean, it's just me, but it's not all of me. It's not everything I do, but it has become this kind of my whole personality in a way, because every single day I still meet parents, I still meet people, I still meet grandparents, sisters, whoever, who they have this person in their life. They don't have anybody to talk to. They don't know how to navigate it. They don't know how to advocate. I watched my sister, who genuinely, my sister is, if there was a Jesus, it's my sister, period. Like, she's the most wonderful human being I have ever known. And I watched her over this weekend make excuses for and stand up for her very bigoted friend on some. And I don't even think her friend's that bigoted, but what she said was very bigoted. It was I just don't think men should be in women's restrooms, and I don't think men should play in women's sports. And I watched my sister make these excuses for her and go, well, sometimes people have really deeply held beliefs, and sometimes you're raised a certain way. And without, us in every realm coming out and saying, here's how to address that when someone says that. Here's something else you can say.
Yeah.
Because even excusing that to any degree, like, is perpetuating harm against someone we love, someone who's young. And I'm not here to tell my kid's story. That's not my job. He has his own story. I'm here to tell people that there is a way to walk through this that not only supports and honors and loves your child, but that invites other parents who are scared, struggling. They don't know what to do. They're in these states. I'm in a blue area, a more purple area of Oklahoma, but there's no blue in Oklahoma. There's not a single blue county, but there is a purple. Tulsa's purple, and I'm closer to that. And people need to know that there are these spaces to have the conversations. There are these spaces to go, where do we go from here? And can I keep my kids safe, but also be an advocate? I just recommended to a mom the other day who was just terrified for her trans daughter. And I said, do you follow India Miller? Please follow her. Your daughter needs to know that trans people age, they grow up, they have, they can survive. You know what I mean?
This is why I have makeup on. I had no makeup on an hour ago. And I said to Jack, I'm like, God, I don't want parents of trans people to be like, oh my God, this is what they're going to look like at 57. Like this old haggard wreck with...
Well, we're all look a certain way at
I'm
a
like,
certain age.
Life is catching up,
But there's a lot of misinformation too about like, oh, every kid's going to detransition and regret it, and then you're going to grow up, you're not going to survive because somebody's going to you, and that's just not true. Yeah. And
I think it's designed to scare.
It is.
Truthfully. I mean, and that's the reason why we want to talk to parents who are scared, to say, don't be afraid.
Well, I think it's so important, for parents. The one thing I thought of that I really wanted to say, is it's okay to be afraid. It's important to be afraid. It's important to feel everything that you're feeling. And then it's really super important that you don't process it with your child. If you have a trans
Yep.
child, if you have a trans grandchild, get a therapist first and foremost, somebody that's trans informed. Get a support group, because that is probably the one thing that I would have wished had gone different in my experiences. I was my mom's person. You know, I took care of her as much as she took care of me growing up, honestly. And so we processed things together, and this was not healthy or helpful for, me to feel her fear, to feel her shame, to wonder if she's pushing me in one way or another. She was directly pushing me in one way. But I've seen this happen, with parents that have come to me, and I'm like, please tell me you're not saying this to your child. They mean,
Right.
like, don't, it's love and support and sympathy and understanding, even while we're scared. And the regret rate of any transgender anything is so super low, but it happens, right? I mean, it's lower than a tattoo. It's lower than any other, a surgery. It's lower than a cis woman getting implants, which is gender affirming care. And it's interesting because I just followed somebody on TikTok today and reached out and said thank you. I mean, they're like, I can't even re-describe how they did, but they're non-binary. They do like 6 months a year on T, 6 months off of T, and they like how it gives them. And they had top surgery, but they identify as a lesbian, and I'm like, wow,
I love it.
That's so interesting, right? I mean, like, why not? And so that trans sports thing, oh my gosh, it has gotten so much mileage. And, we're talking about what, 6 athletes globally or something? It's
Right. Right.
But yeah, it makes sense to me. And I had people, reaching out to me a couple of years ago about that. And they're like, I'm like, look, I got a daughter. I got to be honest. Like, it's my boy voice. I got a daughter. If, 10-year-old Timmy comes up and beats her in a swim meet, I'm going to be upset. And I'm like, well, that makes sense at first. But we're going to start this. We're going to start this dialogue with it's 2025. We now know a lot more about biological sex and gender and, all the things you guys know about androgen and sensitivities and, my favorite chromosomic, what is it? Mosaic chromosomes. There we go. Where, an XX and an XY twins, they fuse. We know how some of this even happens.
Yeah. Right.
And I just heard somebody today say, it was on TikTok too, of course. Well, God, I gotta get off TikTok. But, that God's language is neuroscience. It gives us the words to understand the universe in a new way. And I was like, oh, that's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we know why some of this happens. Science is spirituality with common sense. And so if we want to start and have that really interesting conversation about the diversity that we have, that we don't have a boy and girl. Like, if we're going to start from that standpoint, then either you're going to listen to me for 10 minutes, educate you, and then we're going to reevaluate where we're starting from, or I'm not going to have this conversation with you. Because if I have two choices, thank you, right?
Yeah.
If I have two end results, we can't possibly get to a reasonable outcome. So we need to just like embrace the complexities and do it unabashedly and do it with the curiosity that it demands. Jay, you have that so much in your heart. I mean, and I gotta be honest, I haven't always. I'm very binary. I'm starting to rethink gender roles and everything, and makes it's like, oh, I'm too old to have to be thinking. But the more I learn, the more. I had a parent here in town whose child, it's hard for me to even keep track of, honestly. I know their child. I believe in their child very much, but assigned male at birth, came out as trans female in like middle school, started hormone replacement therapy, grew beautiful breasts because their family has beautiful breasts, right? Like, I come from like really horrible breasts, so I had to have some help. Yeah. But, and then decided, I think I'm more like after like 6 years, I think I'm more non-binary and I don't want to have breasts anymore. And my friend is just devastated about giving the wrong advice or like, are they making a decision that's not right for them? And they, and I was like, look, people, just because I'm like a Tyrannosaur doesn't mean I've been through this before. Like,
Right.
It's hard to guess, right?
I think it's an individual experience. Like everybody is going to learn who they are as they grow.
Right.
Okay, so like you were talking about, this is the India 5.0. How many times have I thought back, looked in the mirror at like 29? Oh, crap, I'm not where I thought I'd be at 30. Shift, change modes.
I never thought I'd be
right.
30,
And then 35, 40, it's like, oh crap, am I where I thought I would be? Okay, shift, change modes again. How many times do we already do that as just people? So this understanding of things that need to be in a binary to me. I had this woman who's from the Philippines that used to come to another show that I did, an audio room that I did, Mama Bear and supporting your trans child. And she came in and said that in her country, their religion taught them to support everyone. And that if someone in the community came out as non-binary, they came out as transgender, if they came out as anything other than male or female, that was how God intended them to be.
Cool.
And that who were we to judge or to say any different? And I was just like, wow. So in other words, they embraced everybody in the community because they were all people. And I just thought the humanity in that was so huge. I loved her. I love her.
I just had a guy come up to me here in town. He's an incredible photographer. He's been to Ukraine 5 times, like, takes pictures in like crazy circumstances and stuff. Here in town, I've never had a conversation with him, but I've seen him at covering a lot of protests and stuff. And it's to the point now where I see him and I get cheeky. I'm like, where's my megaphone, and he came out to paint some rainbow rocks that we paint once a month to leave around town. And he's like, yeah, I grew up in London and my mom was a therapist. And so she explained to me when I was a kid, like, look, some people are born transgender, which was probably transsexual back then, maybe not in the UK, but, and they don't identify with the biological options we had at birth to give them. And it must be kind of hard. I'm like, and this dude's my age, right? And it's crazy. I had all these assumptions like, oh, he's like a gay leather bear daddy or something. He's a straight guy with a wife and kids, He just had a mom who raised him like to be mentally healthy,
right.
And forget how strongly programmed it is in our upbringing in Western society to not be open to this reality, right? They knew about this in the 30s.
Yeah.
They knew about this in Germany very clearly.
Right.
The sexology. I mean, so this is something that they really want to control. And, I can go on for hours about why I think they're doing it. But, we know now today, and this is not Germany in 1930. This is the United States in 2025. It's going to have a different outcome. We're going to do better. I really feel it. That could change in 10 minutes. But I really do believe that right now. And, when I'm talking to parents, I'm like, depending where you're at, where your situation is, there is no unique answer for any of this, right? Yeah. I mean, like if they end up having their breasts removed that they grew on their own, which I'm so jealous of, right? I mean, like, well, then we'll get them a pair like mine, and they're fun too. You know what I mean? It's like there's options, and then you can have those taken out and have another. I mean, I don't want to do that, but I mean, like, we will survive that.
Right.
Planning for the worst case scenario, which is what I do by nature, but I used to do business continuity planning as part of my job, right? I had to think around corners, see around corners. Well, I have ADHD, think around corners too. And so I'm doing that all the time. It's how my mind works. Okay, if I can plan for that, I'm safe for everything on this side of it. And it's mentally exhausting.
Yeah.
And I will I will tell you, like, I have figured out how to get through some really crazy things, some really crazy things I couldn't have predicted, some things I can't believe I went through, you know, and I really believe in our ability. Like, if we're loved and we're healthy and we're supported, and maybe if we're just on our own feral in a deep forest, we intrinsically figure out how to do that next thing.
We
you know,
do.
because I think about that, because like in my mind, I'm like, I'm seeing that person living in a cave in the woods, you know, that somehow found another person living in a cave in the woods, and they figured it out. We will figure this shit out, you know. And it's so maddening that they're trying to make it so difficult for people to do what we know is the right thing to do. And that brings me to the advocacy stuff that I do. And I'm really have become passionate about school board stuff. And I have, because just by accident, I can explain it, but you know, this plan to take over common sense in our government, you know, and try to take us, you know, back to this crazy period that is even darker than I think we've been in, right? Where we're aware of slavery. We want to, like, you know, be proud about it now. And when we started, like, we weren't, you know, 100% sure that slavery was bad at that point, I guess. You know, and they decided to re-engineer our schools. And the reason they did that is school board positions are the easiest positions to win, because it's like 100 votes that swings it either way. You know, so if you can get 100, you know, moms for liberty, or, you know, people of any persuasion to vote, they can get that school board member in. So that's why they started there. And the data has shown that if you get someone involved in voting at a school board, they tend to vote all the way up the ballot. So they get involved with everything. Because, like, I'm going to be honest, I really, for a long time, didn't even dawn on me that there were votes other than every 4 years for the president. I didn't even think about it. There's city commissioners, and these people are controlling our children's education. So we have been dumbing this down, right? Because this started in the Monroe Doctrine in like 1972. I mean, my friend Rana, who's 92 years old here, and is a school board, she's been going to school boards forever. You know, and she just did stand up for her 91st birthday. It was so cute. She's going to do it again this year for the first time. But she had sat me down and explained it. And it is this like oral tradition that we almost have to rely on, because they will keep trying to delete history, right? And rewrite it. But in the Monroe Doctrine, it talks about this, putting good-looking people on campuses, right? Do we see that? Putting good-looking people on campuses who don't have a degree. It doesn't matter. You're just trying to get a pretty face that people are going to resonate with, and, you know, get them to spread the message. And so they've done this. They created the Moms for Liberty. They brought them together for trainings. I have a Moms for Liberty congressperson in my family. You know, it's so diabolical. And so we're reverse engineering that, and not in a diabolical way. We're reverse engineering it with youth, getting youth involved in their own education. Because across the board, this younger generation, and probably every younger generation, walks into the world with an open mind, you know, and it's only through indoctrination and grooming and shoving these messages, you know, at them, that they end up with, oh yeah, there's two genders, and yeah, that makes sense, and oh, we should not care about other people, and yeah, I need billions of dollars when, you know, there's people starving everywhere in the world, and those billions aren't enough, so I need trillions. You know, so it's been really enlightening and eye-opening, and it's like, well, I can do that. They're like, they vote differently. They will vote differently if you're just in the room. And as a trans face, I found that to be true. And then I realized people didn't always realize I was trans. And I'm like, God damn it. I was marching in a trans rights march. And somebody was like, I just thought you were the best supporter of Jack ever. I'm like, no, I'm trans. Are you kidding me? Like, now all of a sudden I want everyone to know I'm trans. It's like, it irritated me. You know, so I wanted them to know that I was trans and sitting there. And then I found the courage to go up and speak. And then I got involved in this amazing organization, Sea Alliance, which is we say the long word so seldom, but it's social equity through Education Alliance. And it's led by a 21-year-old, Xander Morix, who I'm just like, I really feel like I am in Harvey Milk's office. I get goosebumps. Like, I'm like, this had to be what Loretta King's kitchen felt like. You know, Gloria Steinem's basement or attic or wherever she was doing her stuff. It's just like, this is really powerful stuff going on. And he is so wise beyond his years. But at 14, he organized the largest student walkout ever in the history of Florida here over gay rights. And as valedictorian of his gifted school here, public school here, they told him that if he mentioned being gay, they'd cut off the mic. And so he's just such a sage. He's like, he came up with this brilliant valedictorian speech about having curly hair and used that as a euphemism. There they are, crpower.org. Use that as a euphemism about being gay and how having curly hair made his education different and difficult. And I know. And then he gets accepted to Harvard, goes to Harvard. He becomes viral while he's at Harvard and decides to leave Harvard and come back and start this organization from here and open an actual space that all nonprofits of any kind can come together. It's nonpartisan. And it happens to be 4 blocks from my house. And somebody asked me to come paint a bathroom there the day before they open because they're behind schedule. I have no idea. That's literally how I got started there. And it now consumes almost every waking moment of my life. But we have school board representatives all throughout the state of Florida. And then Xander went on the same Jubilee show that Charlie Kirk was known for, you know, these debates, which I'm not a huge fan of, but like, you know, one elephant debates 25 mice or whatever however they divide it. So he's the Harvard student that debates 25 conservatives. And it just went crazy again. But they use data. Everything we do is based on data. So we're down to a 1-minute pitch. In 1 minute, how do you get somebody to understand what we're doing? In 1 minute, how do you talk to them about why school boards matter? You know, what are the best ways to use our time and our energy? And since that success on Jubilee, he has launched Zoom with Xander. So every Wednesday night at either 6:30 or 7 p.m. Eastern, there's a Zoom where he's on and organizers on from around the country. And you have people that are willing to just like step into this and ask questions about it. And depending on how much time they have to volunteer, if it's an hour a week, if it's 40 hours a week, you know, if they're more comfortable behind the scenes, if they're more comfortable and want to be in the front lines, like they meet you where you're at, and they do 3 1-hour foundational trainings that are individual to you, and you can be in social media.
And I can get involved with that by going to crpower.org.
Well, now I'm feeling like I'm really not good at social media because I feel like I've covered this enough that you should be there. So
listen, I have the ADHD also.
This is true. You can come to
a bad year, India.
You can go to crpower.org right now. You can sign up. Zoom with Anders are every Wednesday night. It is. We have 3 documentaries going on about the success that we're having here in Florida. We had the only amendment that was passed on our voting legislation last year at a state level, which was to not allow school boards to become partisan. We fought that. Amendment won. My dear friend Sarah Parker, who's the executive director of Voices of Florida, also right here in my hometown, had the amendment on women's reproductive rights, which was 4, and they would have passed if they hadn't have, you know, you had to get like 67%, but over, you know, more people voted for women to have bodily autonomy rights than they did for DeSantis. So, you know, and that's all happening out here. So this is where the grounds were to train all the people. This is literally where, you know, Heritage Foundation, everything comes here. And so is the solution. It's coming right out of this little town that I'm in. It's crazy that I ended up here. And it is so important to get people involved everywhere at paying attention to what's going on in their schools. Because, boy, they've been dumbing it down for 4 decades. And you could tell. Yeah. Oh, gosh, you can see it, can't you? Look around. Like, I'm like, just even my own experience and just stuff people don't think about unless you're told. Like, I was a trans woman for 7 years and it never dawned on me that they were trans men, because my whole scope of being trans was
Yeah.
Before the internet, then trans women support groups where there were no trans men, and never saw any trans men. And if I saw them, if I didn't know they were trans men, right? Never dawned on me.
Yeah.
You know, and people look at me like, God, you're really dense. I'm like, well, I had a Florida public education, because I did graduate here, but you know, it's deliberate. We are deliberately, you know, controlling the education. That is grooming, right? Because their side is so shaky. Their beliefs are so against common sense, against, you know, that language of God, which is, you know, neuroscience, right?
Haven't started. And I love that you talk about that, like this neuroscience and the spirit, like, because that's my fascination at this. I am constantly curious. I mean, I want to understand. I go back to college tomorrow if somebody to pay for it. I want to have, I just want to know.
Curious. How can you not be
like I just want to know, like, tell me more.
Exciting.
It's so exciting
that the only way to undermine that natural curiosity is to organize and structurally put it into the education system earlier and push the religion harder and harder. That there's only Adam and Eve, it's not Adam and Eve. You know,
but I think that even so many of us come out of that because of our own curiosity. You know, I was sharing not too long ago, like with my own kids. Now, this was explicitly taught by me. I was raised by Southern Baptists. I always taught my kids, question everything.
Yeah.
Even and especially me. Why? Why do I think that way? Is there another way to look at it? Why is that way the way to look at it? What's being left out of this conversation? What's being left out of this one? Where does it fit? You know, what do agendas look like? What does biased language look like? And I use a lot of biased language because I'm very biased.
There are countries in Scandinavia that are now teaching classes on how to assess if the information you're getting from the media
is misinformation.
Right?
Yes, they get like 6 weeks of it like every single year, starting in kindergarten, on how to look at information, distinguish whether it's misinformation or disinformation, and how to unpack it. And it's just like they're doing that because of what's going on here. You realize that, right?
Yeah. We are the example. Yes, this is a 1 hour show. Sometimes we do run a little bit over.
Do we have any questions from anybody that we want to ask? Because I feel like I could go on forever because I'm the most interesting person I've ever met.
Questions, comments, concerns, anyone?
I didn't see any, but I was going to say,
I'd love to.
I did want to add this. Just for anybody who's watching the show, this is where you can find India's radio show. So please, and I did put like the links are on YouTube and the links are actually on LinkedIn as well, so that people can go find it. But in case you're just watching and tuning in and you didn't look through the comment section, that's where you can follow India app for her radio show.
And I'm India X Miller. If I'm on social media anywhere, and I try to be everywhere, I don't necessarily post everywhere, but I'm just trying to get there. I'm always India X Miller. So, and all my intentions are good, and truly, and I don't care who people identify as or if it's shifting or whatever. But I want to just whatever. I'm going to paraphrase what Jenny said, and I'm just going to do this because I know I can get under her skin. I want people to see the old trans people alive. You know, we're here. We made it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's the interest in me.
That hit me the first time I heard someone say that they met a trans elder and it dropped them to their knees because they were like, I didn't know trans people survived. I didn't know we lived to age. And it just struck me, especially because it's one thing whenever a trans person may come out as an older person, but someone who came out a long time ago and has been through it, that's powerful. And I understand.
I want to make sure people know, I want to make sure people know that in a smoky bar in the Midwest in 1988, I met this most interesting woman. She'd been a journalist. She'd lived in Europe. She'd been married. She had the most interesting face. She had kind of a pinched nose, and there was no plastic surgery that I knew about or anything back then. And she had been trans for 30 years already. And that's how I figured out who I was. And she just passed away this last year, bless her heart, Julie Dafford. But I was talking to her, and that is just that moment of this is what I am.
Right.
I'm in a bar full of like bears and whatever they are, badgers, and I'm feeling like a platypus as usual, and it's like, no, this is what I am. I'm not a gay man, right, at all. This makes sense. And, and if you're that person that I met today who's like doing T 6 months the year on and 6 months off and identifies as a trans masked butch lesbian, like,
cool,
celebrate you, right? I mean, you do this all the time. Like, if you're that, the woman with an Adam's apple and 7'2", like, I'm your friend, right? And I love that so much because we all have privilege. I have privilege that in some people's minds I pass more easily than other people do, and I see that as a privilege, and I know that is a privilege. I know that at 5'10", I pass more easily than if I was 6'5". And I have makeup tips and things, but I want to get to a world where that doesn't matter.
Right.
I want to see that 7'2" person in heels, who I realized, wow, they probably had, maybe something like I had starting off with, and like we embrace them and we celebrate them, not just the pretty ones, not just the passable ones,
right?
The strong ones, not just the brave ones, because there is as much, heroic energy. Is that a word, heroic? Heroic. Heretic. No, heroic. I'm a heretic.
Heroic.
That's the word we're looking
Not
for.
heretic.
There's more heroic energy in those people that will never pass in today's standards than there are in any other people I've ever met.
Agreed.
And they deserve more empathy than anyone. Because it's hard to live in a world where we're not understood, when we're deliberately not understood. When we know there's not two genders, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Right.
So
I think that's where a lot of my impatience comes from. It is 2025. The information is out there. I refuse to believe you have never stumbled across anything that challenged your viewpoint. You've had every opportunity to look into it more. And if you don't take it, that tells me more about, who and what you really are. Now, I still am a deeply compassionate person. I am an empathetic person. I understand that fear is powerful. I understand that indoctrination is powerful.
Yes.
I understand all those things are very powerful. But I just feel like, somebody else may need to step in and be that like Zen, person to maybe bridge that gap, because I'm just somewhere else right now. And I think that's okay. I think we all need to be wherever we are. And I'm working on where my next Jenny 2.0, 3.0, what is my next step in my own development as a human being. But the one thing I can share regarding your friend who's, kid, breasts, maybe no breasts, I don't know. Whenever my son came out, and then one of the first things I heard, of course, well, what if he does something that he regrets? And what if he changes his mind? And what if this and what if that? And I said, well, we'll walk through that together too. Everybody has regrets. Everybody changes their mind about something. My life is marred with life-altering permanent decisions I've made that were not in any kind of authenticity. They were just like selfishness. And I deal with the repercussions of that, and it's going to be okay. Whatever my son goes through at any moment, we'll walk through that together too.
Absolutely. And I'm so inspired by these young people. I mean, it is the Sea Alliance is a youth-led, but it's an intergenerational organization. So there's 90-year-olds we're hanging around with these kids. That's a lot to hang around with a room full of young people these days, and we're like, I don't even know what they're talking about. Is it music? Is it contagious? No idea. But they fill me with such hope. They fill me with such hope. And I've lost the plot completely on where I'm going with that.
Okay, you have a sinus infection.
I do, and I'm like this every day. You know that, but thank you for being so gracious.
We love you and are so glad you came today.
I want to come back.
I'm on
definitely
power.org.
Oh, you're on what?
Yay! She's signing up right now.
I'm signing up right now.
Yes, and get people involved in the school board meetings, because I just wanted to, we need to take this education piece back over. And Schools of Hope here in Florida, maybe you just have to stop me, but Schools of Hope is the largest commercial school organization in the country, and they have come in and done demand letters. There's no negotiation. They're coming into our schools here. We already passed it in Florida, and they will come into your public school space, use your schoolroom, right? And they come in, they use our chairs, our desks, everything. They pay no rent. They pay no infrastructure costs. They just come in, and they don't bring any students. So they're just parasitic. They take our students. They can build a shinier version of the school right in the school. They come with no teachers. They come with no students. And our tax dollars go to move our kids from this side of the building to this side of the building to put money in the pocket of a guy that's already worth $50 billion. So they're called Schools of Hope, and it is Schools of Nope, and it's happening live time here in Florida, 3 in my county. And we are fighting tenaciously, but you can learn what's happening for you next year by watching what we're doing now or getting involved to prevent it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will be signing up for that CR Alliance too. I
It's
told
amazing.
Jenny, and that's one of the things that I did learn before I even came on LinkedIn, before I even started my work on LinkedIn, was just fighting really the local school boards. And that was honestly about masks and COVID back then,
That's when
because
it's all
I'm a
really
health
picked up.
exactly. I'm a health advocate. And that is when all this went ballistic. And I spent like 2 years leading up to our midterms here, really trying to like fight to educate. And there was like a group of about 1,000 of us in the county that were really trying to educate. And every seat of 29 went red. I am in a super hot red county that sits right beside a blue county, like 5 miles from the blue county. So we can go over the next county to get the things that we need, but here, not so much. And it was so bad that at the time they elected a Proud Boy, an oath keeper, and the wives of a 3%er to the school board.
Yeah. We have 3 of those
To run our school board.
We
So that's what I'm
unelected-
saying. I don't even mess with the local level because you couldn't get in the door if you wanted to.
We beat one. We unelected her. We put in a replacement who's amazing. The one that got voted out accused me of like mutilating children's genitals on her webpage, her Facebook page the night before the election.
Oh, we had a police detective that was fired from his police department for harassing teachers at the school board meetings, and they still kept him on. They still kept him on.
DeSantis just put her back on our school board.
Wow.
We voted her, and guess what? Her ethical moral compass is so lacking that she accepted to come back. And he also put her on a college board. So she's back.
Yeah. See,
our vote means nothing down here right now. So we are fighting ferociously. But it started with us, people like us during COVID, but it started for the other side back in the Monroe Doctrine in 1972. So we're behind the ball.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's why Jenny and I get more done, I think, with these conversations, right?
Yeah.
And like educating, like between, and honestly, there's like next door, like my mother, it took quite a bit for her to accept my son. It took her over a year. And then when her friend came to her a few years later about her grandchildren who were coming out, and she was absolutely unreceptive to it. And my mother was like, let me tell you about my grandchild. And now that woman openly accepts her kids. And then we went from there to shifting to my mother being at the dentist office, literally bragging about her job is to love and support her grandkid. And that's what she's going to do.
I think that's the important thing we need to do is like talk to each other and share, like, here's the successful way that I talked about it to somebody. Here's how it went. And it's always going to be different on who we are and who they are and where we're at. Hi, bro, Charlie.
We love him.
And I love him already, namaste. What gets through? I'm always trying to think of new things, I'm like phantom limb pain. Like, it's real, people can't see, but it's real, we know it's there. I forget what my latest one was. I'm like, this is so brilliant, everyone will understand it. I don't know if they did, but we have to keep trying and keep thinking and, let us know what succeeds. So
keep pushing. I mean, I think that's the thing. You just keep pushing, we keep talking, we keep speaking up.
This is the first time Jenny and I have ever had like a face-to-face conversation ever.
Have y'all really not done a live?
We've had one phone call. We had one phone call.
Yeah, we had a phone call.
I made your husband laugh, and that stuck with me. I'm like, I made your husband laugh. So that must really be good.
He's precious.
And we've had a lot of text messages, and I don't think we've never done
we sent each other some videos. Like when my mama was getting,
oh gosh, yeah, that. I'm sorry.
Bad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's the only other one. I think just one with your mom, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember
and that
now.
was so real and so amazing and so important.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of all of this, yeah,
I'm telling you, you know. Well, my darlings.
All right. Well, it looks like we're going to close out. So let me wrap us. Okay. So, India, thank you for bringing your.
the next time.
Oh, I won't be, so don't feel bad. If you aren't, thank you for bringing your voice, your love, and your truth to our space tonight. Your work reminds us that even in the face of erasure, we can create spaces of joy, solidarity, and resistance. Every time they try to silence us, we speak louder. Every time they try to erase us, we create. Advocacy is not extremism. It is love in action. And love is never a crime. If you want to continue this conversation, connect with us on LinkedIn or YouTube. You can also connect with Jenny and India on other channels. I'm currently, my TikTok is down at the moment. Sorry.
I'm there. I'm also on Blue Sky as Trans Loving Mama. I am also here on YouTube, if you're watching from YouTube, as Trans Loving Mama. And I'm going to start doing some weekly shows on there. Just haven't gotten to it yet because I had some things going on, but I'm going to start this week. So
I'm everywhere too. I'm India X Miller. I am on YouTube. I am on Skylight Social. I am on everything. I don't do much outside of TikTok, but I'm going to get kicked off of there or leave very, very soon. But
yeah, I think we're all kind of migrating off TikTok. So yeah, if you're watching us and you're on there, then go follow us on our other platforms.
Yeah, I don't.
So with that, right? No, none of us do. So share your thoughts.
Party.
It is. It's been very good at brainwashing. Share your thoughts tonight, your experiences with us, and let us know what vision you have for us and resist in this framing. Together, we choose love. Yay! Good night, guys.
Doug and Dana, we love you. See you next
Bye.
week.
Love you guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. You know I adore you. Just go.